Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Well, I'm going to try and do a more concise and detailed cold and dark startup for those of you who want to play around and have a bit more fun with this 737 MAX. Remember, it's not a study level plane, so we can't do all the things that we'd like to do or want to do. Not all the buttons and switches and systems are working. So let's have a bit of a play with it and see how we can go with a really detailed startup. Any helpful suggestions and things you would like to add to the sequence and the order of things, just put them in the comments below. I'm very happy to learn from you guys. Okay, so let's go inside. Okay, let's start right from the very beginning. We come down here and check that the park brake is on, check that the flaps are up, check that the gear lever is down. 3 lights here, and there'll be 3 lights at the top. We will check those. Now we will come up here, check that the windscreen wiper is off. We will check that all the light switches are in the right position and turned off. We will also check that the floor is free of any obstacles or boxes or clothes or shoes or anything that may have been put there that may hinder us getting in and out quickly. And while we are here, we will check the fuse box for any fuses that may have blown or popped out. If any fuses have blown, you'll notice it because the little knobs will be sticking out further than the other ones because they just pop out if they blow. They are all in, neat and tidy where they are supposed to be. If one has popped out, we will have to contact the ground engineers and they will come in and replace the fuse or check and see if there's something more serious that needs to be done. But all the fuses look good. We're also going to check the safety rope up here, that the hatch is closed, hasn't been tampered with, nothing has been taken out. And of course there is one on the other side as well. Up there, we can check that one. Now it's a good time to do our paperwork, so we check all our paperwork from the logbook from the past flight of the plane to see if there were any notes taken or anything that we should follow up on as far as systems or things not working. But the paperwork looks all good. Okay, so we'll come up to the top now and we'll go through our startup process. We'll turn the battery on to, we'll turn that switch on to battery, open the cover, turn on the battery. We have ground power available, so we'll turn on external power. We will open the cover and turn on the emergency lighting as well. Now while we have power, we can come up here and we need to align the IRS. I'll have them switch round to navigation. Now by default you cannot adjust these switches, they are already set to navigation by default, but you can come up and check the IRSs are set to navigation as part of your procedure, and also check that the 3 lights here for the gear lever are green as well. Now at this time we have power, so we can talk to the tower and ask for the jet bridge, or at this case we are not parked at the gate, so we are going to ask for fuel supply. But if you needed the jet bridge, you could ask for that.
Jet and Juliet, India Alpha 100, a fuel truck is on the road.
Now you can see up here we are getting 120 volts AC power and 24 volts of DC power. We want to start running our power from our APU, so we're going to go through that process now. We're going to turn on our aft fuel pump. That's all we need to get our APU started. Turn on the APU master, the APU starter, and also the APU bleed. We're also going to turn on our beacon light, show the ground crew that we're going through our startup procedures. And we're going to wait for this here to light up to show that the APU is running. Now it is possible to have some window heat if we wanted to turn. Do we have this light on now? So if we wanted some window heat, we could put some window heat on as required. At the moment I don't need. Okay, also at this time we need to do our external check. Just have a look at the engines, the landing gear, check for any oil leaks or pressure leaks around there. So we're going to turn on the hydraulics and the generators. That puts pressure on the gear, and then we can do our walk around outside the plane and check for any problems or oil leaks and things like that. Have a look around the engine for any bird strikes as well. Okay, so we are back in our cockpit now, so we can turn off the generator hydraulic switches. We've finished our external check. We can also go ahead and ask for clearance.
Ground jet in Juliet, India, Alpha 100 IFR to Syracuse, ready to copy. Jet in Juliet, India, Alpha 100 is cleared to Syracuse Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 28 right climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure frequency is 126.5 squawk 071 tree. Jet in Juliet, India, Alpha 100 cleared to Syracuse Airport as filed. Takeoff runway 28 right climb and maintain 7,000 feet. Departure on 126.5 squawk 071 tree. Jet in Juliet, India, Alpha 100, read back correct. Contact ground on 125 tree. Good day.
Okay, so we've got clearance when we're ready to go. Now at this time we are going to do a fire check on our engines. So we come down here and we have these switches here which we hold down, so we can do an we can do an engine fire check on this one, and we can do a fire test by holding this switch. Now in this plane, of course, it is not built into the flight model of the systems, so I've just added the sound effects there for that one. So we have done the fire test, and that is all good. Now we can come down here and check our flight plan, just to make sure all our waypoints are here. Make sure everything is in. Departure and arrival, departure and arrival. All our waypoints and everything are into the computer, so that is all ready to go. So that is good. Now we also have to, since we have all our passengers on board, we need to do a safety announcement and make sure our doors are all closed and secure.
The captain has turned on the fasten seatbelt sign. If you haven't already done so, we request that you store your luggage and take your seat so we can have an on-time departure. For those passengers seated in a designated exit row, you may be called upon to open that exit in the event of an emergency. Please refer to the safety briefing card of the...
All electronic devices do need to be turned off and put away at this time. This does include all cellular phones and two-way pagers. Flight attendants, please prepare doors for departure and cross-check.
Okay, so they've checked that all the passengers are in, settled down, doors are all closed and secure, no smoking, and seatbelt signs. And we're going to come to our lights, and we're going to turn on our taxi lights. If it was a little bit dark or the evening, we could put our logo lights on. Strobe lights on. We won't put the strobe lights on until we enter the active runway, until we're onto the runway. We could put our wing lights on. And here we can ask for taxi clearance, but we've already got clearance. So we can get pushback now. So we are going to turn off the external power. And we're going to get pushback underway. Turn off the brake. Take off the parking brake. Okay, now where we are parked at the moment, we don't really need to get pushback. We're just going to taxi to the runway. So I've just done it as a demonstration. So we're going to stop our taxi right there. Put our parking brake back on. Okay, we're ready to change over from APU power to our engine power, which means we need to turn on our engines. So we're going to turn on our fuel pumps. We're going to turn on our engine bleeds and our engine generators. And we're going to come down to our starter here and add fuel to the engines. And you will see our engines spooling up there. We're going to wait till that comes up to 25. Okay, while we're in this position, we're going to bring the auto brake to RTO for rejected takeoff. And now our engines are at 25, so we can switch these engine starters around to ground. And you'll hear the engine start to wind up here. And we'll just confirm that we have rotation. Engines rotating and firing up. Confirm. Okay, so engines are stable. So we can now switch over and run our power systems from the engines rather than the APU. So we will turn off the APU master and we will turn off the APU bleed. We'll turn on the isolation valve, turn on the packs so that we can have some air conditioning through the cabin. Also turn on the Casper fan and the recirculation fan. Confirm that our taxi lights are on, and we just give it time for the engines to warm up and become stable. We can go ahead and prepare our plane for departure. We can bring our flaps down 3. Now you'll see this display up here. You'll see that our flaps have come down. We're also going to adjust our trim, and you'll see that on the little light display down here. You will see our trim adjustment coming down there. And we can set our barometric pressure. Outside we can confirm our flaps are down and our trim is set and our engines are stable. We can also check our moving surfaces, airlines, rudders, check everything's moving freely. We can now, if we have taxi clearance, we can set our throttles for taxi. So we bring our throttles up. I bring my throttles up to just over 30. $39, or a little bit under 39 is good. You can see the setting there, 38, and then just don't touch the throttle, leave it there for taxi. Okay, confirm we have clearance for taxi. Our taxi lights are on. Our beacon light can come off. We're going to cover the switches for the power, emergency lighting covered and protected. And we can release the brake, release the park brake, and our aircraft will start to move very, very slowly. And using our rudders, we can head towards the active runway, where we will park and wait for clearance for takeoff. Now, while we are traveling to the hold short, we can check our takeoff departure speed. We can set that. I'm going to set that at 220. Going to turn off the auto throttle so I can take off manually using my own throttle, and we set our altitude for climb out. Keep an eye on your taxi speed. Just tap the brakes a little bit if you feel you are speeding up a little bit. Just give the brakes a little tap and use your rudders to steer the plane. Try and keep the wheel in front of the yellow line. Right, that ends my little video on how I start up 737 MAX if I want to do try and do a more accurate startup. As restricted as we are with this non-study level plane, any helpful tips or suggestions or thoughts, please put them in the comments below. Thanks for watching, guys. Hi to all my new subscribers. Keep safe. Talk soon. Ciao.